Let us pray. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you so much, Lord, for this day. Lord, we thank you so much, Lord, for the blessings that you bestowed upon us today, Lord. The ones that we've seen, Lord, and the ones that we've not seen, Lord. We come to you now, Lord, asking you to bless this meeting, Lord. We ask that you have your hand of protection over this city, Lord, as we try to grow and become fruitful, Lord. We ask now that you bless each one of the commissioners, Lord, the mayor, the city manager, and the city attorney, Lord. And I ask all these things in your dear gracious heavenly name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Corbin City Commission, November 18th, 5 p.m. with the roll call.
Pennington. Knuckles. Hart. Shepherd. Rasmus.
Here. First on the agenda is to approve the October bills for payment.
Make a motion. Second.
Pennington.
Yes.
Knuckles.
Yes.
Hart.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes. Next is to approve the minutes from the November 1st special meeting.
Make a motion. Second.
Knuckles.
Yes.
Hart.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Pennington.
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes. And next is the fun stuff. I have a proclamation here that I would like to read to honor the boys cross-country track team. So, whereas the Corbin High School boys cross-country track team has won the Class 2A boys cross-country state championship, and whereas the city of Corbin is proud of the accomplishments these young men have made both in and out of the classroom, and whereas the city of Corbin wishes to congratulate and honor these individuals, their coaches, and their support staff for their outstanding accomplishments, now therefore I, Susie Rasmus, Mayor of the city of Corbin, Kentucky, do hereby proclaim the week of November 18th through 22nd, 2019 as Corbin High School Boys Cross Country Track Week in the city of Corbin. And I signed it. So congratulations, guys. Let's give them Guys, anybody else want to come too? Yes. Congratulations, that's awesome. So proud of you all. So this is the, okay, so first boys state championship.
Yes,
since
and
19
region championship.
And region for them, but then
For the
also
cross-country
across the
team.
state, like, since 1982, right? The first state championship. So congratulations, this is a big deal. Appreciate all your all's hard work. We're really proud of you all. Thank you. You all enjoy your week.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You still have to go to school.
Go ahead and cancel school while
That's
we're
it.
here.
That's it. That's a long time. Okay, Marlon, I'm sorry, everybody. It is really hot.
Flip us to air.
What was that?
All right,
You didn't flip us to air, did you?
I did. It got really hot all of a sudden. Okay, next on the agenda is Joey Hampton with Corbin Tree Board.
I'm gonna give y'all these, because it's been a while since I've been here. This is, the last time I talked to you guys was about 2 years ago, and it's when we were asking if Corbin could apply to become a Tree City USA, and you guys said okay to that. I wanna give you an update of where we are on our application, process. There's a few things we have to change. So if you're looking at that, one of the first things that we needed to do was create a tree board, and you guys did that. We've had a tree board now for a little over a year.
Hi, everybody. We're here.
Yeah, they call us.
Oh, so we gave you information, and this information is what Tree City USA is about and what we have to do to be in a, I guess, a requirement. The requirements for that and what we have to do to be part of it. So for the city tree board, I'm not a part of the city tree board. I'm a volunteer.
Paige, do you care to speak into the microphone? I just want to make sure. I just wanna make sure that everybody can
Okay.
hear. Okay.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Paige Pennington. I'm a volunteer helping with the city board, tree board, thank you. This is Joey Hampton. He's with Straight Cut Tree Services and he is on the tree board. Yes. So what we just gave these city officials is, I guess the application process to be a part of Tree City USA.
Right.
Okay. So we have done step 1. We have done step 2. Step 3 is what we're here for today. We need to discuss, I guess, the budget.
Well, let's go back to step 2. So
Okay.
you guys did create a tree care ordinance. There's 2 things I'd like for you to change on the ordinance. And it doesn't matter, I can still submit the ordinance in with our application before December 15th. But 2 things I'd like for you to change on that ordinance. One is under section 7, the list of official street trees for the city of Corbin, Kentucky, under small trees, is listed the Bradford pear. Bradford pear is an invasive species in the state of Kentucky now.
We took that out.
No, it's on the one that you emailed me.
So maybe we can get an updated ordinance.
There must be an old version.
We took it out.
No, we.
We did take it out?
Yeah.
Well, the email that we requested today it says that it's on there.
Okay.
So we can get an updated one, that'll be
Okay.
perfect.
Well, the other thing I'd like to update is to change the number of board members from 3 to 5. And that's the only thing that needs to be changed on the ordinance.
To make
And just
it,
to let everyone know, that's an unpaid position, so it won't affect the budget or anything like that to go.
Right. Yeah, it's just a little hard, it helps to have more people, to get things accomplished. Like Paige has been volunteering with the tree board, and it's been awesome. We just want more people that will get involved.
so if we can get that ordinance, the newest one in hand, we can go ahead and file to be a part of Tree City USA, which is what we wanna do for the city. So that was step 2.
Right.
On the form that we gave you all. Step 3 is to get a budget, that's $2 per capita per tree. I think we're gonna try to request from the city manager maybe to, get a number on that.
So,
We could, so we can file as well.
What I get, Marlon, most of this, I read a little bit about it today, and said most of the time when the city goes to do this, they look at what they're currently already spending.
Yes.
That they rarely have to allocate anything else other than current, and usually just as an operations, just as being operational, you spend that money. So, for example, I was thinking, we bought a new chipper truck, which is double what we were, at requested.
so I already checked with Bridget Abernathy too from Arbor Day. The city of Corbin does do a limb pickup, and that totally counts. So any money that you spend on that totally counts.
Or the branch,
Like I said,
anytime a
so-
tree falls in the road or
Right.
anything like that.
So Andrew's right, what you spent this year on a chipper truck already covers your $14,000.
Yeah.
So we can get a
Maintenance
copy
expense.
of, just a number.
Yeah, number's all I need, I don't need a copy of anything, just the number, just save the limb pickup, what you guys are spending. And then, like we spoke about before, I already have other numbers of what you guys have spent on other tree maintenance, tree care, in Corbin. The last thing is our Arbor Day, proclamation and observation. You guys might have saw in the paper last week, we did have an Arbor Day event. We had it at the elementary school. We planted 5 native trees there. We did an educational awareness thing about the benefit of trees for the students. It was pretty awesome.
It was a lot of fun, and the kids loved it, and Susie was there as well. We thank you for being there. But we had to have an event to also be a part of this Tree City USA. So we've done everything on our list. You all have the list as well. So what we're requesting is an updated ordinance, and then also, Marlon, if we could get a number of what's been spent on tree care, so we can get that sent out, and we can become Tree City USA in Corbin.
Right. My goal is to have the application sent in to Bridget before December 15th, so that way we will actually, for the year 2019, become a Tree City USA, if that's okay with all of you.
And I'm pretty sure
We'd have to change the ordinance. And do that in the workshop meeting,
I would-
They need to
We need it by the 15th.
Well, we don't have to have
I'm
it.
fairly certain, because we be a discussion, I know this is reflected in the minutes, because I'm the one that asked that we take out Bradford pear trees, we had a list of them.
I'll have to look at it.
So it was like 3 years ago, but I remember it, and so we were
I've got
looking
another
at
check.
You can change the board members,
Automatically.
we got to follow the ordinance, but you can do that after they make the recommendation.
Right,
Do that.
yeah, that's not
That
important.
anytime. Just
And I
give
can
me
still-
authorization to do it.
So that's the only change we need to make to the number of board members.
Just in case.
It wouldn't hurt to say it again, right, if it's already in there, then. Okay, so somebody put that in the form of a motion to remove, if it's not been removed already, Bradford pears from the list of acceptable trees and the board member number three change from 3 to 5.
Yeah, so I'll make that motion. That we change the number of board members from 3 to 5, and we remove Bradford pears from the list of acceptable trees, if it is actually on the list of acceptable trees, which I don't think it is, but maybe.
Do you
all
need
that,
this-
Bert?
Got it.
Well, there's one other thing I'd like to ask you guys, so we're getting
Wait a
ready.
minute, we don't have a
Oh,
second.
sorry.
Second.
Hart,
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Pennington.
Yeah.
Knuckles.
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes, okay, what?
Okay, so that's awesome. So, all right, then I will be submitting the application to Tree City USA, and before the end of the year, we'll get one. That's awesome. The second thing, we're getting ready to do another, presentation at Corbin Primary School. The Ostley Club has donated $2,000 for us to plant trees. One of the things, so what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna volunteer my time to pick up the trees, deliver them, and plant them at no charge. So we're gonna get as many of them as we can in the ground for that. Just like the trees at the elementary school, we did the same thing there. What I'm asking the city to do is to match their donation. We can plant more trees. There's a lot of space at the primary school, wide open. There's a playground that needs trees around it, so they'll have shade one day. A lot of green space that's open, and if the city can match Ostley's donation or do anything towards that, that's what I'm asking.
School property is my only concern about this. Anybody else have any thoughts?
What's the legalities there?
Well, you're supposed to, these funds, public funds can only be spent on public properties that you all control. No,
So really, it's not legal for us to.
I don't think so, I'm sorry.
Well, the right of way is though, right?
Yes.
We can plant trees up and down the
Yes.
drive, the road and everything.
You can on the right of way, but you need to check with the state highway department first too.
Absolutely.
Yes. You'd have to probably get a permit to actually do that.
What are you talking about? What streets you talking about?
Well, there's the new entrance, there's the main Fifth Street there, that's all nothing there, and then the new entrance that they built to the school.
Off of Black Diamond? So-
Yeah,
Yep.
well, no, not off of Black Diamond, off of Fifth Street, you know where they added on, and they added the new.
Seven through seven.
Yeah,
I'll be honest, I mean, I like to be a team player and everything, but I think that we could spend that $2,000 more in the city limits of
Okay.
Corbin and really get more impact for the
Right.
city.
we'll save that
I
for
know
our
that's in the
native
city
treatment.
limits because we've annexed, but you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
Don't use that against me now.
No.
You said $2,000.
Have you talked, have you talked to the school, maybe asked them about it?
I did, one of the reasons why I'm asking is the school has a policy where anytime they do something like this, they have to bid it out. My hopes was that if the city put some skin in the game, we could make it a city project, and therefore say the city's doing the project, Ostley's just donated money to go in on some trees there, and we could bypass that and get it done quickly. That was my kind of goal in the whole matter, and plant more trees, so.
Trees are good.
You do have the 20th Street entrance there, that
Different school.
new entrance for the school that could be treed.
That's
Does anybody else have anything for the tree board?
You said it was a requirement the board have 5 people, or you just wanted?
No, I just want more people. We have 3 and one of the members hasn't showed up to a meeting yet, so we really only have 2.
So you're having trouble, well, getting a quorum. I mean, you can still have a quorum with 2, but 2. Okay.
All right. Thank you all so much.
So, could you send me that order?
There's not another city on their size that is a tree city. There's a really upscale suburb of Louisville that is, but the rest of them are all major cities, 60, 70,000 people. So it'd be kind of interesting.
It could be a great feather in our cap. One more thing. Okay, next is Quentin Smith with the Kentucky Department of Highways.
Yes, basically what I'm wanting to do this evening is bring you the information, the crash history on Kentucky Avenue and Main Street in Corbin. We were pleased when we heard that the city had moved, restriped a portion of Kentucky Street, then disappointed when we heard that you had decided to maybe move it back. We highly recommend, based on safety issues and crash history, that the city remove parking on one side of each of those streets and reconfigure the lanes to better help with the safety issues that we have. As you can see, in that small section, we have over 65 accidents on Main Street. I think it's close to 90 on Kentucky Avenue. That's a very short section of roadway that has a high number of accidents on it, and something that the city needs to be taking better look at and see what they can do. Like I said, one of our recommendations, the early recommendation, is removing the parking and reconfiguring, similar to what you've done on the section of Kentucky Avenue. There is another option, but to do that, we could potentially look at a study through the Highway Capacity Manual, something new that we're looking at, that looks at potential accidents and change that you make to a roadway that will modify potential accidents, either reduce or increase them. But to do that, and that's something you need to probably discuss further, we'd have to have a commitment from the city if we went through that process, and the state put in the time and the resources to do that, that you'd commit to following the recommendation. So if we did recommend something, you would follow it if we went through that, because it is a very time-consuming, a lot of resources involved in doing that, so we don't want to move forward without.
What did you call that again?
It's the Highway Capacity Manual, it's a book, and what we can do with that is there's spreadsheets that we can plug in the existing conditions, and then we can look at different, and see what the expected accidents should be on that section of roadway, and all these numbers are based on studies throughout the country. They're currently working on studies in the state of Kentucky to get our numbers more specific to Kentucky, but all the numbers are based on similar roadways throughout the country and what should be happening accident-wise. And with this study, we can see, and it's our beliefs, based on, without doing the study itself, that this is a high accident area, that we could definitely reduce the accidents by removing the parking. But what we could look at with that study is what other options there, we maybe look at different options. Haven't thought of any up to this point because we haven't committed the resources to it yet. I just found out about this more today, so that's why probably nobody knew about that particular item. But if the city's willing to commit to doing the recommendations, we're willing, our district's willing to commit the resources to do that study. But we have to have assurance that you would do whatever the recommendations would be.
Highway capacity,
Or highway safety manual, sorry.
highway safety, but the study is called the,
That's just part of it. That's just, it is,
okay.
it's a study we do that follows the guidelines that in this.
Have you
manual.
done anything like how long does it take and?
Well, that's the problem. It's new, sort of something we're using new in the state of Kentucky. Our district's not done this. That's why we're reluctant to take on a lot of time and effort to do it
Right.
as of now without, some sort of assurance that it's got followed through this, that it's gonna be followed, recommendation be followed. That's something you can discuss later, I just wanted to bring that up. But the initial thing is removing the parking, we do believe that would be a benefit to the city, safety-wise. I know there's some parking issues and, you know, a lot of what we do with the transportation cabinet don't always make people, they're not always pleased with us, but we are always looking at safety issues when we're doing these type of, situations and recommendations. I'd be happy to answer any questions about the numbers you have in front of you or anything else, and I'm more than happy, you know, to discuss further at a later date if you want to.
On this map legend, it says manner of collision, it says angle. On both of the streets, there's a significantly higher amount of manner, that being the manner of collision. What does that mean?
That's an angled accident, someone hitting you at an angle, and that's usually due to parking a lot of times, especially in a situation like this, people either pulling out of parking or pulling into parking, you'll hit that car at an angle versus like you see rear end accidents are on the.
Sure.
You know, that's a true just hitting the back end, but the angles are one or both of the vehicles are actually at an angle when it's hit.
They look like they're often at intersections, cause that'd be people pulling out of the intersections.
That could be, part of it. A lot of them are in intersection, and sometimes it's people, and that's usually where you have your parking accidents is where people are coming around or.
Somebody pulling out in traffic when oncoming traffic.
Right, so there is a lot of things, associated with that. I didn't get all the traffic reports and study all of them. This is just a sort of a recommendation based on what information we have so far.
I mean, that's where it looks like most of the angle ones are at intersections.
Right.
So you're saying, this is over a 36-month period?
Yes.
So you had, like, if you have Kentucky, I'm just figuring it out, it's like a little over 2 accidents a month
Yeah.
on that stretch?
I
That's a
believe
lot.
it. Yeah, it is.
Like even just minor, because these are like minor accidents, that's a high number of accidents for a stretch of road like that.
We believe it is, yes.
It's even less on Main, I mean, it's 65.
Well, I mean, our goal is to eliminate all accidents nationally, but.
I know,
But if it's something that we consider that, by removing the parking, we can reduce that. Anything that we can control by doing lane widths or configuration of lane that we can reduce, we feel it's worthwhile doing. And that is, and some of those will be grouped and, I didn't
It's an
spread it
average.
out, yeah, an average.
Main, it's less than 2 a month.
And sometimes, some months where you have higher traffic, it may be like during summer months, maybe when people travel a little bit more, or winter, maybe.
And
I
this
didn't
isn't
look at
even
that.
2019, and we've had Austin City, Chefs,
Yeah, that's another thing with the development you've had, your
did,
chances of
the
growing.
Depot, did the Caboose open in 2019? Tomahawks.
Tell me, our district or your district's never done that study before to recommend changes.
Correct.
Do you know what's involved? What do? They do traffic volume, and they look at a lot of different factors and then make a recommendation? Is that
Yeah,
how it
we'll
works?
look at the traffic. I know, I believe the last time I looked at the traffic numbers for Kentucky, it's around 10 to 11,000 vehicles traveling that each day. Main Street's closer to 8,000 traveling it. And that's just based on the position where you put our traffic counters at. So we look at the traffic, the ADT or the average daily traffic, we look at the lane width, we look at parking on or off the street. A lot of different factors that this would look at to see what our, other recommendations would be for the roadway.
But that costs a lot, takes a lot of time, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Would it be difficult to do like average daily traffic, like, just like a short study right now to see if these, if the ADT has gone up in 2019?
I'll have to see, we're just finishing our traffic count cycle for this year, and I honestly don't remember if we had a new one recently, and it usually takes several months for that data to, get processed. So early next year, I'll know if we have one, but I can check to see if we've had one recent, anywhere along either of these streets. And if not, you can make a request, that'd be the best way, make a request.
Can I make a request?
I need it.
Okay.
Right.
Harlan?
So you're saying during.
I do think we've had a lot more traffic in 2019 than we've had,
Oh,
in
yes.
2019.
During this period in 2018, you're saying it was the traffic counts on Main are roughly 8,000 a day? It was Main?
I believe so, yeah.
And so you're saying Kentucky is more busy, it's got 11,000?
Yes.
Okay.
That was on the stations I looked at prior to coming here. that can change based on where we locate it and stuff, so that's another thing. We don't, with so many intersecting roads here.
It's hard to know who's really going down the length of it.
Right.
There was also a question, Quentin, you know, when the church came to speak, they had a question about why did it change back at Fourth Street? You know, how the angle, you know, the line goes over and then it goes back at Fourth Street. Can you explain?
One initial thing I noticed, that I wasn't there when, our traffic engineer, I think, was involved in helping, mark that off and stuff. In front of, the one corner where I think the Baptist church, there was a site distance issue, and we would prefer for probably that section to have it shifted away from that church, allowing a little better sight distance, on the vehicles traveling, or coming around the church. That's one reason that probably happened right there. That is a good transition point to get traffic back to where, on that side of the road, to manage that. That's one thing. I'm not sure with him out there, that's one thing I noticed,
Right.
Driving the section. Now, we're not recommending which side to remove. I mean, that's totally up to where it benefits the city the most. We wouldn't dictate that in any way, fashion, or form, but we do recommend that it is removed from one side just to allow for better configuration of the traffic, the lanes, and it doesn't necessarily, some people automatically think we want wider lanes. That's not necessary. The 10 to 12-foot lanes are typical what we like. I know in some of the lanes you have less out there right now. Parking, we like up to 9 feet of width on parking. I think you've got about 7.5 feet on that. It does
Are we
meet.
talking about on Main Street now?
Yes, on Main Street, yes.
Okay, so we've got about, I'm sorry, you're going too
Oh.
fast. Okay, 9 foot on the parking spaces. And then how wide for the lanes?
10 to 11 is probably preferred to that area. And now you can make the parking, if you have areas where you have larger trucks for, that needs to drop off materials during the day, you can make that parking wider. You've got a little space there if you remove one side of the parking. Otherwise, a larger truck could not unload on Main Street probably. It probably blocks one of the lanes would be my, I've not watched one do it, but I'm pretty sure they'd have to block one lane while unloading. You could allow that with the wider parking. So you've got a lot of options if you decide to move forward with it, that you could do, and we can help you look through all that, see what the best configuration. I know, you're currently going through the bike ped plan, that you're working on, and I'm sure through that recommendation, bike paths would be something you could also, by doing that, would allow you to have bike paths, or bike lanes through the city too, where now you couldn't, especially on Main Street, you don't have the room to do that.
I don't know if that'd be good on Main Street anyway.
Well,
A bike
if it
lane.
is something, but, well, if you were to remove the parking and add the space, it probably would be something, an option that you could look at, where, like I said, right now, definitely wouldn't wanna be on one going down the street at least.
Has anybody else got any questions for Quentin?
Do you ever recommend changes to the format of the parking? Like right now, if you took the parking off one side of Main, would you suggest that the parking spots on the other side remain the same style of parking spots where you just pull up and pull in like you do now, or?
Yeah, parallel parking, I think. We've talked back and forth, several of the engineers at the office, about angled parking. I don't know that would be, it'd be something you might wanna look at, and there's several, it's not only just the pull-in angled parking, you can also be back-in angled parking. Some cities have went to that, and they prefer that. So you have some options there, but I don't know that I would do anything other than maybe widen the parking. And probably my initial suggestion would be widen the parking, widen the lane next to the parking, and then have a narrower lane away from the parking, so you have a little room to maneuver in that lane without crossing the lane line, and the traffic.
Is there ever any concern about removing the cars in front of the businesses and exposing the storefronts directly to traffic when there's no partition? Now there's a car, if you crash on Main Street, the odds of you driving through the barber shop aren't this high. Without a car there,
Right.
the odds of driving to the barber shop is pretty high.
Unless they're going at a very high rate
Sure.
of speed, the curb should take care of that. If there's not a car parked there at the time, you can do the same
Sure.
thing. So there is times of the day when there is cars not parked on every spot, so you've got the
Sure.
same risk now that you.
Without a car there.
you have a little bit more space and configuration, say you don't wanna put a bike lane, you do a 10-foot lane, 11-foot lane, and a 9-foot, parking, you've got enough room to either extend your sidewalk, do bump outs, do landscape, you've got a lot more options than where now you're very restricted with what you have.
Brandon, David, you all have input?
I guess just from my observations from being in other areas before, that with angled parking, I feel like it's, different areas I've been throughout the country that's had angled parking. I feel like it's slowed people down, just from my personal observation. So haven't looked in any studies or anything like that, but it seems that it has slowed people down though, wherever I'm at that has angled parking, so.
I guess it wasn't you, but we had a meeting, I can't remember who we were with, like right when I first came into office, and we were sitting in your conference room, and we talked about angle parking. And somebody was talking about, like, you got a dually truck pulled in, you know, and then you've got like, you know, a VW Bug or whatever. And so when that car has to exit, they exit straight into because you can't see to pull out, because that truck is so much larger than yours, you know, and so, was it Chris? It wasn't Chris? Okay, so he was saying, you know, he does not like angle parking, he thought that would increase, you know, some accidents.
Yeah, I mean, that's something, that's just one of many options you have. I don't know that I'd recommend angle definitely at this point in time. I'd have to look into it a lot more.
Right.
But I think the parallel parking works, especially if it's a little wider, you have a little wider lane width next to it where you can make that maneuver safely. That's definitely something to look at, for you to consider, if you decided to move forward doing any of that.
All right, does anybody else have anything? Thanks for coming, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, next on the agenda, ordinance. Ordinance number 18-2019, ordinance establishing 8 parking spaces on the south side of West First Street between Poplar Street and Kentucky Street, second reading.
Ordinance number 18-2019, ordinance of the city of Corbin, Kentucky, establishing 8 parking spaces located on the south side of West First Street between Poplar Street and Kentucky Street, in at the southeast corner of the intersection of Poplar Street and West First Street, going east to the southeast intersection of West First Street and Kentucky Street. Second reading, 11/18/2019.
Second.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Pennington?
Yes.
Knuckles?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Yes. Ordinance number 19-2019, an ordinance amending ordinance number 19-2011 to include electronic smoking devices as being a prohibited method of smoking, first reading.
Ordinance number 19-2019, ordinance of the city of Corbin, Kentucky, amending ordinance number 19-2011 to include electronic smoking devices as being a prohibited method of smoking, whereas the Board of Commissioners has researched and reviewed various reports and studies relating to the increased use of electronic smoking devices and the danger of same to human health, and whereas it has been determined that the Board of Commissioners has determined that electronic smoking and the use of same is dangerous to human health, and whereas the Board of Commissioners desire to protect the public health, welfare, and safety of the citizens and occupants of the city of Corbin, Kentucky, and whereas the Board of Commissioners previously adopted ordinance number 19-2011, which prohibits smoking in all buildings open to the public or used in places of employment, and the use of electronic smoking devices should and shall be regulated therein. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Commissioners of the City of Corbin, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, that Section 2, definition, subsection A of ordinance number 19-2011 is hereby amended and shall read as follows. A, smoking means inhaling, exhaling, burning, or carrying any lighted or heated cigar, cigarette, or pipe, or other lighted or heated tobacco or plant product intended for inhalation, including hookahs and marijuana, whether natural or synthetic, in any manner or in any form. Smoking also includes the use of an electronic smoking device which creates an aerosol or vapor in any manner, in any form, or the use of any oral smoking device for the purpose of circumventing the prohibition of smoking in this ordinance. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect immediately upon passage and legal advertisement, and all ordinances or portions thereof in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. First reading, 11/18/2019.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Make the motion to accept ordinance 19-2019. Second.
Pennington?
Yes.
Knuckles?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Yes. Approve and authorize what, sorry. So the Carnegie Board requested for us to have a memorandum of agreement with them so then they can apply for, grants, both federal and state grants. And I don't know if everybody's had a chance to read it or not, but it's pretty standard. But they need this in order to apply for grants. So if anybody's got any questions, I see Rob in the audience, so I'm sure that you could answer any questions.
Bob has got a copy of it reviewed, that he's okay with it. Yes, I did review it.
Be a great thing to see that come to pass.
It's really just a misunderstanding. Memorandum of understanding is, it's not a legally binding agreement, basically, just a cooperation.
Right.
Agree to cooperate.
Make a motion, we accept the memorandum, or authorize the mayor to sign it.
Second.
Knuckles?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Pennington?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Yes. Next, Planning Commission recommendations for the following: 814 South Kentucky Street and 1031 Fifth Street Road.
Because we're supposed to read this.
Yep.
Okay. Dated November 6, 2019, to Mayor and City Commission from Corbin City Planning Commission. The first one I'm gonna read is 814 South Kentucky Street. Subject, recommendation as to a request for a proposed development ordinance and zone map amendment in the matter of land use classification and designation requested by Adam Bailey and wife Teddy Bailey, owners of Emperor Sound Realty. Located in the city limits of Corbin, Whitman County, Kentucky, at 814 South Kentucky Street, beginning at 9th stake at the northeast corner of 9th Street and Kentucky Avenue, thence with the north side of 9th Street, south 67 degrees 0 minutes, west 70 feet to an iron stake, being the southeast corner of the Lester Bennett lot, thence north 20 degrees 30 minutes, west 157 feet to an iron stake, and branch thence north 88 degrees 30 minutes, east 80 feet to an iron stake at the edge of Kentucky Street. Then south 13 degrees 30 minutes, east 49 feet to an iron stake at the edge of the street. Thence south 17 degrees 0 minutes, east 31 feet to a stake at the edge of street. Then south 22 degrees 0 minutes, east 56 feet to the beginning corner of the land presently zoned high density residential multifamily residential district R3 is proposed to be changed to Central Business District C2. After a public hearing, the Planning Commission, City of Corbin, Kentucky shall make findings of fact and recommendations of approval or disapproval of the proposed zone change to the Board of Commissioners of the City of Corbin. In accordance with the provisions of the Corbin, Kentucky Development Ordinance, a public hearing on this proposal was held November 6, 2019. In accordance with the action taken by the Planning Commission at its regular meeting on Wednesday, November 6, 2019, and the direction of the Commission, I advise you that the recommendation of the Commission is that this request be approved. To change the zone classification as described above and to be shown as on the official zone map as Central Business District C2. Findings of fact. Following is a summary of evidence and testimony presented by proponents and opponents of the proposed amendment. All property owners involved in the proposed zone change are in support of the change. It is in agreement with the comprehensive plan commercial land use. Conclusion, as stated in the comprehensive plan, one of the key concerns in land use planning is to ensure that these various land uses are in harmony with each other to the greatest degree possible. Proposed development ordinance and zone map amendment in the matter of land use classification and designation requested by SEKID Authority. The Planning Commission unanimously approved that this change will be in agreement with comprehensive plan and create a stronger neighborhood and community. By and for the City Planning Commission, Chairman Henry Huberlin, dated 11/12/2019, and also signed by City Manager Marvin Sams.
Okay, so that was 814 South Kentucky Street, and they recommend the change. So, I guess we'll do these.
You would have to approve the recommendation and direct me to prepare the ordinance and zoning map amendment.
I'll do what he said as a motion.
Everybody knows where it is, right?
Second.
Hart?
Yes.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Pennington? Knuckles?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Yes.
And the second one dated November 6, 2019, to Mayor and City Commission from the Corbin City Planning Commission, subject recommendation as to a request for proposed development ordinance and zone map amendment in the matter of land use classifications and designation requested by Ronnie Taylor and Gary Philpott, owners of Two Guys Properties LLC. Located within the city limits of Corbin, Whitman Ellison's Corner and running thence with roadway south 51 west, 118 feet to a stone, then south 9 east, 225 feet to a stone, thence 51 east, 264 feet to a stone. Family Residential District R1 is proposed to be changed to General Business District C1. After a public hearing, the Planning Commission, City of Corbin, Kentucky, shall make findings of fact and recommendations of approval or disapproval of the proposed zone change to the Board of Commissioners in the City of Corbin. In accordance with the provisions of the Corbin, Kentucky Development Ordinance, a public hearing on this proposal was held November 6, 2019. In accordance with the action taken by the Planning Commission at its regular meeting on Wednesday, November 6, 2019, and at the direction of the Commission, I advise you that the recommendation of the Commission is that this request be denied. To change the zone classification as described above and to be shown on the official zone map as Central Business District C2 as delineated on attachment A. Findings of facts. Following is a summary of the evidence and testimony presented by proponents and opponents of the proposed amendment. Property owners involved in the proposed zone change are not in favor of the change. Property owner Bo Eubanks presented a petition with over 100 signatures of local property owners against the proposed zone change. It is not in agreement with the comprehensive plan commercial land use. Conclusion, as stated in the comprehensive plan, one of the key concerns in land use planning is to ensure that these various land uses are in harmony with each other to the greatest degree possible. By and for the City Planning Commission, Chairman Henry Huberlin, dated 12/11/2019, City Manager, dated 11/13/19.
Okay, everybody familiar with this? It's the property across from the old Eaton and Gibbs where they've got the car lot and they've been grandfathered in. It's the residential property across the street. They were wanting to get rezoned and they don't recommend that, so. Anybody got anything to say about it? Otherwise, we need to take their recommendation to not change. Do we
Right,
need
you
to do
need
that?
to accept their recommendation.
Okay.
I make a motion, we accept the recommendation.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Pennington? Knuckles?
Yes.
Hart? Rasmus?
Yes. Next is to approve the time theft policy.
This came about because with the new federal guidelines, there's some changes in employees and the way that employees will be classified. Before, if you made over 23,000, you could be a salary employee. Now it's if you have to make over $35,568 to be, and that takes effect federal guideline law on January 1st. So along with that, we got a new payroll program, and it was their recommendation that we have a time theft policy for our employees to sign. And it basically just says, as here, that, it's something you should already basically have knowledge that you shouldn't be stealing time. If you falsify your time card, it's illegal, and you just sign that you know that. And that's all it is. It's just the record to say that you know, and we would ask every employee to sign it, if we do it.
I make a motion, we accept the new conflict policy.
Second.
Pennington?
Yes.
Knuckles?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Okay, next is to accept the retirement of Brian Jenkins from the fire department.
I have a letter, sorry. I have a letter that, Brian sent that just said it's his resignation from the Fire Department effective November 1st, but it's actually retirement. He retired with 20 years of service, so. Is he here?
No, he had to take care of his grandmother tonight. I do have a plaque for him though in the office, so.
We need to present that to him and tell him thank you. 20
Yep.
years is a long time to give of service to his community. Tell him we're very appreciative.
I'll do it.
I'll make a motion to accept his retirement.
Second.
Knuckles?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Pennington?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Yes. Okay, next is to accept the resignations of Doug Price and Caleb Hester in the police department.
And I have two letters here. Doug Price, effective November 1st, 2019, he resigned as dispatcher, and Hester resigned the 18th, which was today, was his effective date. And he also put in a request, it was a pleasure to have served with Corbin Police Department and worked with the
time-consuming process. If we can just get the ball rolling now, it'll save us some time in the long run.
Thank you.
Thank you, I was gonna
Is
ask.
that a motion?
Yes.
Yep.
Second?
Motion. Second.
Just a second, so. Shepherd?
Yes.
Pennington?
Yes.
Knuckles?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Yes. Okay, next is COLA.
We had worked with the budget committee, this is a cost of living adjustment, I gave each one of you a copy of, basically what we did last year was 500 full-time, 250 part-time.
Anybody have any questions for Marlon on that? This is for everybody.
All full-time employees,
All
yes, and part-time employees, 90.
Everybody, right?
Well, not event staff.
Right,
What, not event staff?
yeah.
How many total employees do we have?
98 full, 28 part-time right now.
Motion, somebody?
Make a motion, we approve the cost of living adjustment.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Pennington?
Yes.
Knuckles?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Yes. Okay. City managers report.
Well, I was gonna request for a policeman, but thank you, Mr. White.
I have some
one.
requests here,
Okay.
if you don't care.
Right,
I have two requests that were turned in, from the recreation department. One is they were turned in today, so I didn't have time to get them on the agenda. One is for a $60 refund, after the man, Mr. Chris Hoskins, signed his daughters up to play. They changed the league and it became a co-ed league, and his two daughters did not want to play on the co-ed league. And so that's the $60 one, and that's from, Chris Hoskins. Then I have one from a Jessica Smith for $35, and she says she signed her daughter up, or her child up, and it interfered with her school ball, plus she was switched, teams, and she had already missed 2 practices before she knew it. So she requests her $35 back, and her name is Jessica Smith.
I make a motion, we issue those refunds for recreation department.
Second.
Pennington? Knuckles?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Yes.
I was gonna bring this up, we need to ratify the partnership agreement.
I got that next.
Okay.
We have a partnership agreement between Corbin Independent Schools and City of Corbin for for families participating in 21st Century Community Learning Centers program. And, it actually had to be turned in and was signed on 11/14/2019, and we just need to ratify that.
Make a motion, we ratify the partnership agreement between the city and Corbin.
Second.
Knuckles?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Pennington?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Yes.
And I only have one thing, I gave each one of you a copy, we need to, some additional work has to be done at Rotary Park, for trenching, backfill, compaction, laying some more lines in. What we're doing is taking in all the camera lines and all the scoreboard lines that go into those scoreboards will be buried in those puddles. So with some additional work, it was not figured in at the original, we didn't think about it at that time, doing that. So it's requested $29,500. They had a lot of conduit and a lot of digging that needs to be done.
So basically puts every line over there.
Yes, everything will be buried underground except the main power coming off city utilities there at the bridge.
Well, I guess we need to do it, so I'll make a motion that we take the city manager's.
Can't turn the lights on if we don't. The school board.
Second.
Hart?
Yes.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Pennington?
Yes.
Knuckles?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Yes.
That's all I have.
All right, let's do some department reports. Who wants to start? Oh, not you. All right.
Alright, so the updates that I have for you all, good evening, by the way. Basketball, we are going through our tournament week, right now, starting tonight. We've experienced some success by adding the pre-K through kindergarten, and obviously we were unsuccessful adding the older girls as we have had some refunds. We are going through a revamp of logo, so I'll pass around some cards. Yeah, so we are selling stickers, and soon, by the end of the week, we'll have gym t-shirts for you all to purchase.
Oh, thank you.
So, yes,
You're fine.
that's very good, I like that.
Thank you.
That's cool.
So, yeah, when we get the t-shirts, I'll bring one in as well.
I take an extra large.
That's $20.
All your service to the city, it's pretty good.
After 35 years, that's what I
It's
did.
about time we get to get some
Not even
money
a
out of
t-shirt.
Bob.
Yes.
I'll have the cashier, okay?
All right, I'll take it. So, and then, some upcoming things, last week I attended the KRPS conference with Marlon. And I left there pretty inspired and motivated, seeing what other departments were doing. So with the beginning, was it last week or this week? Met with Maggie, and we are hoping, we are in the beginning stages of planning, hopefully a half marathon for Corbin. And hopefully make that an annual thing. So tomorrow we're actually meeting with the runner shop, and we're gonna see what happens.
It's awesome.
And then the last thing is, hopefully this pans out, but I would really like to request for one of my guys to become full-time. He's been a seasonal worker at the rec for 3 years, so I know it'd mean a lot to him and for me to have him as a full-time staff.
Not continuous, off, played off and then came back. What, 9 months and then came back? like the first
Right,
year.
yeah.
So you
But
could-
I know what I'm looking at. But he
you
is
can
one
keep him
that's came
busy
back.
on those 3 months, you're saying.
Yes. Right now, Josh and Eric are my only 2 full-time maintenance staff, so having an additional would help me out tremendously. I would really appreciate it, and I know he would also appreciate it if he was granted full-time. Bob, if you want that t-shirt.
I don't vote. But I'll tell you, just make it legal if you don't be over that much.
I'll make a motion to have a t-shirt.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
We need the name.
What's his name?
His name is Jonathan Hildebrand,
He goes with Jay.
and I will let him know that I will give you all t-shirts.
No.
No,
don't
no,
give me
do
that.
I'll second the motion.
Oh.
Johnson is a
I'm
very
losing
good
control
worker.
of the meeting.
Shepherd,
Yes.
Pennington,
Yes.
Knuckles,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Tom.
Mike.
Wait a minute, I got a couple of questions, sorry.
Oh.
So the swings, I noticed there was a posting on there that you've got for the swings for the larger kids, are they done and all, is everything?
No.
No.
Servicing, go ahead.
Yeah, the surfacing has not been laid yet. I believe it has to be a certain temperature in order for them to go through with the entire process. But the swing bay is up and standing, but it's just not operable at this time.
They're gonna try to work it in within the next couple of weeks due to the weather. They're in some other areas close to us, and that's one reason they came the other day and put the swings up. And then the surfacing needs to be at least 40 degrees or better, and a good day where it can, within 3 to 4 hours, set. He did call and say they would get that taken care of. They're just working around the weather right now.
Okay, I'm glad we're getting those in, cause that was one of the big complaints I had, is nobody over the age of like 2.
No big swings,
Can get
yeah.
in swings.
Yeah.
So,
And
Those are fun.
there is a special needs swing there.
Yeah.
For the papers, please put, that is for special needs kids only. That would help a whole lot.
And I'm just curious, we talked about in the past about just continuing to expand that playground, but is there room over there for more if we wanted to do that in the future? or not?
In behind the restrooms there is a little bit of room, but we gotta have room to get into the fields too, so we might have to look at possibly, Hope did talk to me, there's maybe a couple other locations in town to put a smaller type swing set or something, playground type possibility, because we're about almost full over there. We'll approach you about that later.
Roger,
I have nothing.
you got that flyer?
Excuse me?
You got that flyer?
Do not.
You're working on it, all right?
When I get a chance, I will.
Be good to have something a little easier to read, which I know you were talking to Scott about helping you with that, right?
Yeah,
Scott was
we're
helping
working
me,
on it.
Yeah, yeah.
We're working on it.
All right, Rusty?
The only thing I had, I was gonna request, to hire another officer, but that was done for me, so I don't have anything unless someone has anything for me.
You don't have any t-shirts?
How's No Shave November
Yeah, it's
going?
going.
Yeah, well, I could speak on that.
Where's your beard at?
Do what?
Where's your beard?
Rusty doesn't like a beard. Unless I get sponsored, then I guess I'm obligated to have a beard.
How much
so-
do we
So if I could raise enough money,
Hold
$20 a person, it's a minimum
I'm
of
in for
$20 a
20.
person. If I raise enough money, I will go over the rest of the month
What is
without
enough
shaving.
money?
$20.
Just as much as I get $20 a person.
So one person gives you $20 and
That's it.
You want to
That's it.
start
Now,
growing
the
a
officers,
beard,
they
man.
can, the officers, you'll have to bring it down to the police department, I can give you a receipt. Do not take cash. Just give you a receipt.
That would be money well spent to see
So,
Rusty with the beard.
Yeah, I've went this long without doing it, but, I will, if
I'll be
if
down
I
there
get
tomorrow.
sponsored. But, we have 8 officers right now who have received, sponsorships, and their beards are looking a little rough, I can say. I'm not real impressed, but we did wanna participate in No Shave November, and all the proceeds are going with the Shop with the Cop, so. We've raised about $200 so far.
Awesome. Great, thanks,
So.
Rusty.
Come see me tomorrow.
I will. If we sponsor Rob Jones, then he has
He'll have to grow a beard.
Okay, that's where mine's going.
I'll let him know.
Candy?
I'm sure he can.
He might get a little bit by the time.
Barry, you got anything?
Just a couple quick things. One of our firefighters, Tommy McDaniel, he's here. He just found out today that he passed his instructor's course, so he can start teaching fire schools now, so. Good job, Tommy. Another thing is, yeah, clap.
That wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't easy. It was, what, 3 weekends? 2 weekends, plus they had to take a 200 question test. So it's a pretty good deal.
Congratulations.
The other thing was, since, Brian's retired, we wanted to move up Larry Daniels from part-time to full-time. He's already, passed the test and everything, and he's an EMT, he's about to become a paramedic, so that will, help us out too, so. If y'all, I'd like the recommendation.
Set motion to accept recommendation.
Second.
Pennington.
Yes.
Knuckles.
Yes.
Carr.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes. Awesome.
Larry's here, if y'all wanna take his picture after we're done. Thank y'all.
Absolutely. Christie.
I got all this written down, so I'll try to go quickly. So this past weekend, we just had Grace Health, their 3rd annual employee party, and they definitely know how to party. They included circus performers and all kinds of stuff this year, so it's, they, like I said, they definitely know how to party. Then we hosted the cheer and dance, competition for the first time on Saturday. They actually moved from Somerset. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. We seem to be cheer heavy this month, but, so this coming Saturday, we host the KHSAA 13th and 14th Region Cheer Championships. The high school competition will begin at 2 p.m. Doors will open at 1. Prices are $10 adults, $5 students, and there are 19 teams competing for the high school division this year. The middle school competition will begin at 6:30, and the doors will open at 6. So we'll bring everybody in for the high school, we'll make everybody leave, and then they have to come back in for the middle school, because middle school is KPOS, so the checks go in to different organizations. Then up next, we have the Pepsi Christmas Party, Christmas Crown Cheer and Dance Competition, Harlem Globetrotters. In 2020, at just the beginning, we have WWE, WYMT Fishing and Boat Expo, Donnie Baker, arcade shows, 13th Region Tournament hosted by Knox Central, the rodeo, Price is Right Live, that is the big hit right now. I have heard about it everywhere I go, so I'm really happy that we have that for the first time this year and for next year. Rotary International Dinner and more announcements to come. We'll be very busy, you know, the first half of the year like we usually are. I did want to mention that WWE is combined with our local Toys for Tots and is offering, excuse me, offering $5 off ticket prices with a donation of a toy at our box office location. We always have Toys for Tots boxes like outside of our box office. They can get a discount on up to 4 tickets, and that will run actually until show day on January 12th. So anything we get after their deadline for this Christmas will go for next Christmas. So they have a storage facility where they can store those things. So we are offering that right now. And then I'm also working on something a little different. I'm working on a detailed budgetary plan for 2020, which will be done very soon. It's gonna be very detailed, very specific, and it's a whole new financial outlook, and she stole my word, the revamping, but I already had it. And revamping of how the arena will function financially, which will in turn benefit the city, the arena, and local businesses, both individually and as a whole partnership. So I have a whole new plan for 2020 that I will be presenting to you guys very soon.
Sounds good. Anybody have any questions for Christie? All right. Thank you, Christie. Gary, I knew I was forgetting somebody, I just couldn't see you.
I'd like to sneak at it, but I need your help. Don't have really anything, we've got the sidewalks, that's our biggest thing going on right now. We finally have the leaf machine, we've got the truck actually modified to the truck now, so we actually just started sucking leaves last week. Vacuuming them up, but that truck, it's kinda, we're switching back and forth with it on the chipper, it'll run the chipper 1 week probably, and then the leaf truck the next, you know, so. But, blacktop, I've not heard from it yet. I've tried to call ATS Construction today. The weather has just fell out, you know, where it did fall down below, you know, especially in the low 20s and stuff. It's kinda putting a hamper on weather that slows them down elsewhere, which slows them down for us, so. But we do have, I've got 2 operators going right now. I've got 2 operators and 5 concrete men, so we're actually able to move pretty swiftly with our sidewalks right now. And, but we're out here on Kentucky Street right now. We actually got into digging there, and the road was a little bit hollow underneath there, so we had to reconstruct the road there and added that for us, so. But other than that, I'd like to also request to bring a couple of my seasonal guys to full-time. I'm at 21 right now. When we did run a full concrete crew, which is actually just 4 men, at that time we had 27 full-time men. I'm at 21 right now. I'd actually like to hire 2 of my seasonal guys and go ahead and rotate them into full-time if that'd be all right with you guys. And, kinda hold out for some CDL drivers, cause I'm extremely short on CDL drivers right now. Got the holidays coming up, and, we're short. I mean, like if one gets sick, I'll be driving, so it's that short. But, kinda like to hold out for a couple CDL drivers, but.
So what do you mean by holdout? You'd like to, you wanna to advertise for?
I don't really wanna advertise, full-time. I would actually maybe like to advertise it light key and hire some seasonal guys to full-time, cause a CDL driver in our department, he may be throwing garbage one day, he may be on my concrete crew. You know, a lot of CDL drivers have it in their mind, because that license, you know, it pays pretty good, you know, for truck drivers, you know, driving gravel trucks, concrete trucks, and things like that, so. But in my department, they're not just gonna drive a truck, you know, so they're not, and a lot of CDL drivers, that's what they wanna do, is just drive a truck. And if we could put some kind of restrictions on that, but, you know, that'd be the big thing. I don't wanna be misleading and somebody come in and just wanna drive a truck and not be healthy enough to do a lot of times that's what they want, they just wanna drive, and you can't get them to pick up a
We
stick.
don't wanna hire somebody to just drive, we want
Right.
somebody that's,
You know,
that's
you wanna-
willing to do whatever's
Yep.
necessary for the city.
Yeah, I've got guys, you know, I'm not gonna have him drive a truck and three of my guys, you know, watch him sit in a truck while they're out and at 20 degrees chipping brush.
Do you have any guys that you have employed now that would be willing to train to get a CDL?
We've actually, tried with a couple, we've not had any luck so far, but, you know, a couple of them were interested, but then I give them a CDL book to study and.
But nobody else wants to do it?
And they're not pushing through, you know, so I've had one, you know, a couple guys try, you know, and they've not been successful so far. And I mean, in my department, I mean, I would actually about like to require them to get a CDL within a few months. I mean, it's, you know, that's what, you know, a lot of the state do and city utilities do, you know, I mean, they're required to get a CDL within a certain amount, you know, of time. And that's beneficial in my department because, you know, we get around, I've got a couple guys got their wife sick, different things, you know, and, we're extremely short this, it's been a problem for the last 5 or 6 years. So, especially I moved Mike up, he was one of my CDL drivers, moved him to my assistant, but, you know, if all else fails, I mean, it'll be me and him driving, I mean, we're not gonna not get up garbage, you know, through the holidays, I mean, we'll do the job.
Those two are William Hurst and
Yeah,
Cameron Campbell.
Cameron Campbell and William Hurst, yeah, I like to put William Hurst there, and then, Cameron. And they're on my garbage truck, you know, that job through the winter is pretty rough in itself.
Definitely. Motion?
I'll make a motion. Second.
Knuckles?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Pennington?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Yes. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Bruce, you got anything? I'm saving Maggie for. I'm saving Maggie for last, so we can go out with a bang.
Mayor and Commissioners, Marlon, I just wanted to kind of give you an update on the Corbin Center since we took that over about a month ago. I've had an opportunity to speak with a lot of you on this. We've got some concerns. I've got some issues of wear and tear on the building. We've got several windows, and actually they're on the west and the north side of the building that have deteriorated to the point that they're crumbling and falling apart. I did get a contractor that has built all of our spec buildings. I had him come out and look at it with me, and we won't know until we go a little bit further, but I want to make you aware of it. I've talked with Marlon on it. It appears to be, and it probably is just over time, that building, I guess, is 14 years old. It appears maybe the seals around the bottom of the windows are leaking. We don't know for sure until we get into it. There doesn't appear to be any roof leaks. There is one roof leak that I think it's been some time because it looks pretty old and it's actually away from the windows, but we've not noticed any roof leaks currently, but I think it's just at the bottom of the window sills. We've had this issue previously in some of our spec buildings, where those seals after time will deteriorate. So I'm gonna try and get some idea of the cost on that and get with Marlon on it, but it's something that needs to be replaced pretty soon because they're actually just crumbling in the floor. Painting, I've talked to you about that. I'm gonna get some quotes on painting the inside and the outside. Obviously the outside, we'll probably have to wait till spring, but several of the rooms need some attention. And so I do have all the original paint charts from the building when it was built. I got from the architect and engineering firm. So I'd like to try and go back to the same paint scheme because it actually matches the paint scheme that's in the floor. The rubberized floor is a painted or a coated floor. Also in the glass room, I think some of you saw that carpet. It was in pretty terrible shape. We did get it cleaned temporarily to hold us, but that is a room that gets a lot of traffic for receptions, anything that might have to do with food. I would like to look at probably removing that. It's somewhat better. I think Mary, you were out there today, and Marlon, and but I think it's something that's gonna have to be replaced in the long run. To look at replacing it and go back with some type of tile / hardwood flooring or whatever, so that it can be utilized when there are events in there that may have food. You don't have to worry about food or soft drinks, whatever, getting on the carpet. One thing I'd like to look at is an assigned smoking area. You have those breezeways on the east and the west side, and when events are going on, if people, and they are 25 feet away from the actual door, but when you open that door, that smoke just rushes into the building. I've had several people mention that to me. I noticed it right off the bat, so I'm gonna look at, and I don't know, Bob, is there, I mean, if there's, I know the ordinance says, I guess, 25 feet, can you extend that though by ordinance to where we can move that area away from the door, even because of the breezeway, like I said?
think you could do it, that's the minimum.
Okay, minimum, so that's what I'm saying, we can do whatever, so.
Says at least.
Yeah, at least 25, so, I'm gonna come back with some recommendations on that, and try and, unless you wanna go ahead and ban smoking on the property, and I'm not willing to do that if you'd like. I'm also looking at the security update on the cameras and security system. That security system's fairly old system, it's not even actually functioning right now. There's several cameras that aren't working. And as I have seen, being in that building a lot over the last month, at all hours, there's a lot of folks on that property in and out. I have, employees that are in there by themselves at night, cleaning up or whatever. So, I'm working on getting that as well. Another item I talked to Marlon about is to consider, at the back of the building, possibly putting up a double gate. Gary, and I'll say this from the standpoint of you all, I know that dumpster sits at the back of the building, but what I'd like to do is put that dumpster inside and maybe put a double gate where they can still give them a key to that. Because a lot of times I just have one person there. And if they're going out late at night, even though it's lit back there, it's still a little concerning at 11, 12 o'clock at night and no one around to go out that door. And I just think it was secure, because I've actually been in there late at night after hours and there's cars back there parking, smoking. And so I'd like to just secure that area of the building. So I'll get some quotes on that and be glad to answer any questions you may have on any of these as we go through this. And the other big item is a floor scrubber. Marlon's had a chance, the mayor, and I know Trent, you were out there. I scrubbed an area over the weekend, just to, where we could put up the Christmas tree and the decorations, and there's quite a bit of difference in the floor, with it being scrubbed now, but with that large of an area, we need a walk-behind floor scrubber, which we can maintain that on a regular basis. And what I'm suggesting on that is that, you know, we got our first month's rent, and I've not hired a full-time person yet, which I hope to have by the end of this month. That we utilize some of those funds that we earmarked for salaries and have my board approve to buy a walk-behind scrubber. That's probably the most important piece of equipment we need right now, because if you look at the floors, it's made a big improvement, just for what we did in a small area this weekend. And I have hired a full-time maintenance person that started today. He's out there now, and I'm going back. We're gonna try and get some more of the floor done with just a side-to-side machine, they call it, and try to get that. We've got a large event this weekend, so we're gonna try and get all the entranceway and the hallway brought back up to a standard. And I actually found some some of the flooring that was put in that originally in a box in the outside storage area, that there may be some of that we may have to try and replace. It has some, I'm not sure what it is, if it's been scarred or something, if it doesn't come clean, but, so that's basically where we're kinda at on everything. Be glad to answer any questions you may
The floor
have.
sweeper will be for the big rooms too.
I'm sorry.
Sweeper.
Oh, the floor scrubber will be for, especially the large, but it'll be for the hallways and, well, any of the room that has
Anything that's not carpet.
that has a tile surface, yes. And that's the majority of the building. There are still, with the glass room, there's 2 other rooms that have carpet. I think those can be brought back to a pretty good condition. It's just long-term, with the events we have and events that may require us to use some of those for events that would be food catered, that I concern myself with, but we can, I think we'll be able to restore those other 2 carpets to a usage where we can maintain those for a while. But,
That's good.
yeah, actually, there's 3 rooms, I'm sorry, 3 more rooms besides the classroom, but the classroom is in pretty bad shape. So any
So
questions?
the floor scrubber
Is the major big thing we need pretty quick, and you're looking somewhere, I'm getting quotes, somewhere between $65,000 and $7,000. That's a 22-inch floor scrubber walk behind. But I'm still getting prices on that, but, that will enable us to really keep those floors, clean on a regular, daily basis. And that was always my intent by hiring a full-time maintenance person, so that we would have those floors scrubbed and cleaned and sealed as necessary, to have a good looking building there. Any questions? Thank you.
Should we go ahead and buy a scrubber?
He said he was gonna do it.
He's gonna do it.
I've got 2 more price to get, but what we'll do, if it's okay with you all, since again, we did not, you budgeted, starting in November. So I didn't have salaries in November, October, November, and probably won't have until, either end of this month or hopefully maybe before the end of the month. But I think we can budget that out of the money you've already given us.
Okay.
But I just wanted to let you all know any capital expenses that I was making, and I'll go with my board with that if you all are okay with that.
Awesome, good job, Bruce. Thank you. Miss Maggie.
All right. Well, I'm still riding on the coattails of a most phenomenal and amazing day yesterday with the Christmas open house. To say that it was a tremendous success is putting it mildly. Just to give you an example, we gave away 5 gallons of hot chocolate in 1 hour. So we know that we went through 500 cups of hot chocolate. The ice skating rink was the hit of the century. We know over 500 people ice skating yesterday, and who were very appreciative and thankful. Our businesses had huge success yesterday with everybody being full, and then the Grinch in Whoville was also a smashing success. So just overall, to see over 1,000 people on Main Street was phenomenal. Every parking lot on Depot Street was cram-packed. I actually had to park at our train depot in order to find a parking spot. So yeah, it was definitely busy. So very successful. So of course, our primary function is marketing, and so I wanted to talk to you all about some of the marketing that we've been engaging in. Of course, I've talked to you all about the fact that we're really trying to hit the tour bus industry and the tour bus market, which I'm going to bring up again here in just a little bit. But we have tried a new publication called Great Day Tours. I've developed a 3-night, 4-day itinerary for tour bus stop that will be incorporated in their guide as well as an ad. So we'll see how that pans out, and we'll be in the 2020 group travel leader planner guide as well. But some of the marketing that we're also involved in, or other publications that we're going to be marketing in for 2020, include Adara, which is a banner ad campaign, Pioneer Woman, Garden and Gun, Cleveland Magazine, Our Detroit Magazine, the Kentucky Visitor's Guide and the Travel Guide, and then we have historically advertised at a UK men's basketball game. This year, the commission was able to set aside some additional discretionary funds in our marketing budget, and we are actually doing a conference game. So you will see us featured on January 29th, the UK game, the UK men's basketball team playing Vanderbilt. So we're tapping into that national market and really trying to get our name out there. So that's some of the marketing initiatives that we're doing right now. But going on along with the tour bus industry, we actually snagged Honey Tours, and October 10th, we hosted about 35 people. I was a step-on guide for the tour bus and brought them into the downtown,
I worked with our Main Street merchants to ensure that our retail locations would be open early, and people shopped till they dropped. Lots of cash dropped on Main Street that day, and then we took our way out to the original KFC and had the Chautauqua Colonel Sanders have a performance there. So it was a very successful day and the start of many great things to come. So it was a phenomenal day and everybody had really enjoyed themselves. I also did a downtown tour with them, everything from our parklet to Sanders Park to the steam engine, so they got to hear a lot about the history of Corbin and some of the things we've been involved in. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about that I failed to mention as far as marketing, so from a regional standpoint, because we are looking regionally and how do we make East Kentucky a tourism destination. So I actually have been working with our region group and have started a campaign, well, we're getting ready to launch the campaign through my leadership group, I Heart Danville Country. So we have signage, we're gonna produce a commercial, we are gonna produce a print ad, and we'll be distributing that through lots of media outlets. So more to come on that. Marlon and I are, of course, are working on the splash pad, so that, you know, the meetings are taking place and things are moving along there. The parade is December 7th, and then the wayfinding signage project is still alive and well. I've met with the Department of Transportation to have them help me in terms of, before we even start, we have to have a permit. Can't install signage without the permit, so they're involved and they're helping me out big time. And then our sign person has all the regulations now for the signage and is working on, you know, mock-ups and what that price is gonna look like. So how many signs we'll be able to purchase with our grant. So good, lots of good stuff.
You didn't happen to mention our sign coming into Corbin, did you? The one that's been knocked over.
Oh,
for
yeah.
like a year.
Yes, yeah, I know.
I feel like the squeaky wheel on that, but it's just like, can we get our sign?
And I've also filled out one of the online reports. I've done that twice, the online reporting form where you
Well,
can.
let's just keep up the pressure.
Yes, yeah,
You
we
know,
absolutely.
Nobody knows where they're getting off.
Yeah,
All it says is exit 25.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I don't know who hit that, but they did a good job.
yeah, they really.
Yeah. All
But-
right, anybody got anything for Maggie? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations, things are going great.
Yes, thank you so much.
Do we have anybody that wants to speak from the audience tonight?
Is our downtown manager not?
He's sick.
Oh, see,
He's sick.
No? Okay.
Well, last meeting, we had talked about potentially having a New Year's Eve party downtown.
I wasn't here.
He had said something about planning that.
Aaron and I talked briefly about it.
So there has been some discussion about it.
Aaron and I've met and there has been some discussion. We're definitely currently, talking to our movie screen company about how we might be able to do some projection and live streaming of New York and the actual ball drop there. Just with budgetary concerns as well as time. So that is something, you know, he approached me about, and so we're currently exploring that as an option. And I've been trying to check with the restaurants to see what their New Year's Eve plans are too. You know, I know that we have several restaurants that are gonna be doing either a special or a small party.
Yeah.
So I've kind of been asking them what they're doing.
Sound like a good idea. One other question anyway, I know that we accepted, we're supposed to sign a contract with the firm to do the engineering and site planning for the splash pad.
They'll be here Thursday.
Okay.
I had to work around his schedule. Other places, he said he'll be here Thursday. I'll give you the time later. If any of y'all wanna come. And I had to work around her schedule, cause she's gonna be off too that day somewhere else, so. Trying to get everybody together.
And I've seen some nice renderings from potential changes at Miller Park, which I
Yeah, they
think are
did,
exciting.
the conference that Hope and I went to, the architect was there as a vendor, and he had that kind of setting out. So we've got some renderings, if everybody's not seen we meet with them, and I was explaining to you earlier about the lighting and different things, and we'll try to get a budget together, and then they'll come to us. We need to get all that first before we go any further with the process on that, kind of get an idea on the price.
Anybody else have anything?